thinking about moving to Bali, or maybe you're just thinking about holidaying, coming on a holiday, I want to do the what to know before you come. So you're sitting at home in your country and you're like, I want to go to Bali, I want to go for 1 month, 2 months, a year, I want to move there forever. This is your what you need to know now, what you need to sort now, plan it, do it, what you need to know to come to beautiful Bali. Come on, my baby. What to bring to Bali? What to bring? Do you know what? I got told so many things to bring before we came to Bali, and I definitely think once I got here, I've been here nearly a year now, time has gone fast, that I realised we can get so much more here than I thought we could. But do you know what? I did get told to bring a really good raincoat because in rainy season, it rains a lot. But I'm taking it. I'm saying, no way, don't bring a good raincoat. Because you know what? Look, I've got one of these amazing Starheim raincoats, and look, this was after my first week in Bali. Can you see this? This is mould. It's not good anymore. It's ruined. Completely ruined. And look all over it. So, no to the raincoat. Don't bring a raincoat. But if you have got a good umbrella, you can get umbrellas here, but I'm not sure so good. You know what? Even if you're coming on holiday, or even if you are moving here, I definitely think these things are a must. But gross, but worming tablets, yeah, because lots of animals, cats, dogs, anything you touch, worms are everywhere. Ugh. So definitely before you come, you can buy them here, but I would say you have them in your suitcase. So worming tablets, number one. The other thing is lice treatment if you've got kids. All these gross things. Kids, especially if they're at school, if you do decide to send them to school here, nits, there's lots of nits around. So I would bring a good lice treatment because you can get some here, but if you want a really good one, I would say bring it. I think it's a good thing to bring. The other thing that I would bring, especially if you're coming for a holiday, because you can again get this here, but Hydrolite. I don't know if you, hopefully you know that. It's like, you know, if you've got a tummy bug, you want Bali belly, you're going to get Bali belly. Hydrolite just, you know, replaces all those electrolytes. So bring some form of replacement that you can put in your drink that will fizzle dizzle, and then you can drink it, and then you won't get so dehydrated when you get Bali belly. You'll get Bali belly. And the other thing, do you know what, I ummed and ahed about putting this on because we have heaps of shops in Bali, so I feel like people forget this. We've got H&M, we've got Zara, we've got Uniqlo, you can get Decathlon, you can get, there are so many places here. You can get Birkenstocks, but do you know what I found really hard to get is good quality shoes. So if you're quite fussy on shoes, which you know I am because I'm a minimalist, if you're fussy on shoes and you kind of want something alternate, you can get like Vans here, or if you just want runners, you can get all that here. There's Puma, there's Adidas, there's Nike. So, but if you like something a bit different, see, even the Nike store here, no to these. They didn't have them. I got them in America. So I'm saying shoes, bring, and kid sandals. Birkenstocks is here, so you can get Birkies, but I kind of like something a bit more durable, so I think kid sandals is a big kids, like right up there, must on the kids list. And the other thing is, now do you know what, I called these gum boots yesterday and someone didn't know what they were. These are gum boots in New Zealand, gum boots. I think you call them Wellington boots. This someone told me. They're called Wellington boots. Wellington boots. Do you know what, again, so in Bali in Indonesia, we have Tokopedia and we have Shopee, and they are like your, you know, you can type anything in and it will come up. I haven't found good quality gum boots. Gum boots, it's a new word for you. I haven't found good gum boots on there, so I bought these from New Zealand, and in rainy season, these are a must, because seriously the roads flood really fast and you'll get muddy and dirty, and you can see that mine are used. So definitely gum boots. That's your new word, you've got to practice that one. Now, do you know what? I also want you to bring men, close your ears here. Any men watching or boys watching, close your ears. You don't want to hear this. Ladies, bring period-proof underwear. Seriously, because these are impossible to get here. Actually, I think I've seen them once, and it was like a one size, so it was like an extra large, and it was in a shop. So absolutely, you must bring period-proof underwear. Otherwise, you're going to have to fly somewhere else and hope it's not COVID, because you're not going to get them. And do you know what? Shipping anything into Bali is super expensive, crazy expensive. So you don't want to be doing that. You don't want to be doing that at all. So bring your period-proof underwear. The other hard thing to get here is good quality pajamas. I'm a pajama snob, super pajama snob. And unless you like Victoria's Secrets or Uniqlo, I love Uniqlo, don't get me wrong, but I don't love their pajamas. I haven't seen pajamas anywhere else. And I mean, I've been everywhere. I've been to all the malls, I've done everything, and I have not found pajamas that I like. So I'm still on my one pair of pajamas from New Zealand. Bring pajamas, number of pairs. The other thing hard to get, do you know, I asked around for some of these things because I was like, okay, I've got a few things that I find hard to get, but what do other people find hard to get? And kids' books, but we'd say kind of under 10-year-old kids' books. You know, you can get, I've seen Peppa Pig, any princess thing, any just like a general truck book, but in terms of probably you know, some of the classics maybe that you like to read to your kids, I bring some kids books. Definitely fill your suitcase with kids books. We have a great bookshop here called Peri Plus, and it is good, but the kids stuff is very princessy, Peppa Pig, or just general like trucks. So every time I go in there, I'm like, there's no good books that I want to buy. So that's the thing that's hard to get here. But you know, everything else, when I think about everything else that people had told me, oh, you know, bring this, bring that, I found so much here because I think, like I said, there's Zara, there's H&M, there's Uniqlo, there's Victoria's Secrets, there's lots of the bigger designer shops. So I don't actually think, you know, in terms of kids' clothes, in terms of clothes for me, there's so much stuff here that you can get. Oh, do you know what? I forgot one thing. Oh my God, this is important. Do you know what is hard, ladies, to get here? Togs that cover your bottom. Yes. Because there are a lot of swimwear shops here, a lot. You do get Quicksilver and Rip Curl, all the surfy shops, but outside of those surf shops, unless you like tiny togs, and I'm definitely not at the age for tiny togs anymore, yeah, no, you don't want to be buying togs. So bring togs that cover your bottom. Renting a house, very, very important. When I was in New Zealand, I heard about renting a house. I was a bit like, what? Is that right? So this is it. When you rent a house in Bali, you have to pay up front. So if you're renting for 1 year, then you pay up front for that whole year. So most landlords will want you to sign for a year. You're getting a little bit of flexibility in that with COVID, so some people will say 3 months or 6 months, but in general people want you in for a year, and that means you have to pay that up front on the day you sign your lease. So it can feel like a lot of money, but then of course you're not paying anything for a long time. So that's really important and can be a bit like, is that right? Am I going to get ripped off? So I just think when you choose a house, you need to be cautious of who you get it through, because there's so many houses on the internet and you could risk losing a lot of money. So I've always kind of gone through more reputable real estate agents. But of course you don't get as cheaper deals. But normally you can negotiate with the owner. So I just think for safety, you don't want to hand over $20,000 and then you never get your house and you never see it again. So really, really important. The other thing is to make sure, this is me bleeding here, oh my god, the amount of people that do this, and I'm shocked. You have to go see the house, because it doesn't look like it did on Instagram. 100% will not look like it did on Instagram. So please make sure you go see a house. Don't be in your home country, you know, you're sitting in the United States and you're like, this looks awesome, I don't want to lose it, so I'm going to pay for 1 year and not see it, because you could show up and it could be half falling down, or it could have looked like that 20 years before. So really, really important to go see the house. Now, you have to, when you pay your upfront, everything's different, right? So some houses you have internet included, electricity, your gas, all that included. Most houses that I've come across only have internet included, and you have to pay for your electricity, your, you know, when you get water, because you can't drink tap water here, remember that. We might end up with a sore tummy. So you pay for your water and your gas, because most of the houses, actually all the houses from what I know, run off a gas bottle, your hot water. So that is normally included. But very important that when you go see the house, so you're going in, you love this house, it looks all beautiful, you try everything out. And I'm talking everything. You turn on the taps, you make sure the windows open and shut, and you test the internet. Seriously, this is so common that you'll hear they've got 100 megabytes of internet, and then, you know, when the kids are streaming, and if you're trying to work from home, and it just keeps ticking over. So you really need to test it, and I have to say, in most places it can be a bit unreliable. So some days it can be awesome, and the next day it can be a little off. So test the internet, test everything, because honestly, once you have paid that money, so you've signed your lease, you've paid that money, and then you go in and you go, oh, this doesn't work, this doesn't work, this doesn't work, you may not get it fixed. Or you may just end up having to fit the bill yourself to get it fixed, because unless you really know your landlord, or, you know, they could be in another country, or it could just take ages. So I just say, super, super important to get in the house, test everything, test the internet, make sure it is what they say it is, make sure it works and it's going quite fast, and then pay your money. Only then are you allowed to hand over the $1 billion check, which it feels like when you pay that much money up front. So those are the handy, very handy listen to me tips. Health insurance or travel insurance, depending on what you want to do. Do you know what, so I got travel insurance for all of us, and I've actually never used it, but you know, I am not one to travel or move anywhere without travel insurance, because it's just for the big things. So the things I found here in Bali is that, you know, we've been to the hospital. Indy like cracked her arm and we had to see a specialist. We went to the hospital, they gave her a sling and everything, and all that included was only just over $100 US, and my excess on my insurance was 100 New Zealand dollars. So it really wasn't worth kind of my time for might have been like $20. And then outside of that, we've been to doctors, we've been to specialists. I took Indy again. She has a just swimming all the time, of course. She had an ear infection, it was quite bad, so we went to an ENT specialist, or an ear specialist, and after seeing the specialist, her medication, and what else did they do? I can't even think what else they did. But after all, oh my god, you guys would have loved that. I think that was a snake on the roof. Oops. Living in Bali. And after all of that, it came to like 43 US dollars. So again, my excess was 100. It was no way worth me. Well, I couldn't have even claimed on it, right? So Nothing big. And then interestingly, see, some things are, so when you go to a specialist, it's not like at home where you'd spend thousands of dollars. But then the other day, Mila needed to have a B12. I got her a full blood test and alongside with B12. And the blood test was really cheap. It was only about $14 US. And then the B12, I nearly died. The B12, to get her blood tested for B12, it was like about $180 US. So that turned out to be really expensive. So it's funny because some things that you don't think will be expensive are expensive, and then other things are really cheap, like going to a specialist. So we haven't really used the travel insurance, but it is for that big thing if, say, they're, I don't know, snapped their arm in half or something and needed surgery, or I don't know, they got dengue fever really bad, or typhoid, or just any of those things where they would end up in hospital and needing, you know, the amount of money that you probably need during the day. That's what I have it for. So there are so many healthcare providers, and I'm always shocked when I talk to my friends from the US and how expensive their healthcare, their travel insurance is. So I don't even think, I use WorldCare, and I really they had really good reviews and they seem great because I haven't used them. So they're amazing, they're a 5-star. So I can't really give you any advice on, are they quick to pay claims, are they good? But do you know what, they had great reviews, they were real easy to deal with. And yeah, and of course, depending on what country you're from, right, it varies. I mean, I'm shocked by the amount that United States people pay for their insurance. Yeah, I don't seem to pay the same from New Zealand. So I paid for 365 days of travel insurance. I paid, it was just over 1,000 New Zealand dollars. So is that like 730 US dollars? Yeah, so that's how much I paid for a year for me and the 3 children. So yeah, health insurance. I mean, I think, yeah, don't travel without some form of insurance, right? Because you just never know. And especially in Bali, you don't even know. I mean, there are, like, you got to look for all the loopholes. Like, there are things, I think, with scooters and stuff. I think if it's over 150cc, they don't cover it and stuff like that. And that's probably one of the biggest things, is if they had a scooter or a motorbike accident or something. So if they're on the back of someone's bike. But I'm in my car. So yeah, if you've got any questions, message me, because yeah, I would definitely organize it. I'm just maybe, you know, again, I haven't used it, right? So, you know, but because things have been so cheap, but it's just that peace of mind. Isn't that what insurance companies say? It's peace of mind. Well, it is, right? Just in case you hear of stories, some really bad stories that happen to people. And so I just think, and sometimes people that have travel or health insurance, it, you know, it gets messy and they're not covered because of maybe a scooter thing, like, you know, so you gotta, you know, I don't actually read the fine print. I always say to them, does it cover this? Does it cover this? Because I'm always like, really? You want me to read your 20-page document? No. But I always say, does it cover this? And what say this happened? And what say this happened? So, and with COVID, it was a big thing. I was really like, okay, so if we ended up in a hospital with COVID, what would happen? And right when we were leaving, kind of travel insurance and health policies changed, that they kind of would accept. They were, a lot of companies were saying yes to if you ended up hospitalized for COVID and stuff. So you just got to look into your policy. Yeah, fun stuff. That's not the fun stuff to organize, but it's the safe stuff. So be safe. Visas. This is a complicated process, and I want to tell you that COVID's made it a little bit more complicated. It's not easy, and hopefully I keep it simple, and you can always write me and ask questions because it's very complicated. So firstly, I would say find a reputable agency. There are a lot of agencies that do visas, and you hear good and bad things. So I really think use a reputable agency, and sometimes you have to pay a bit more because maybe you see a really good price. You're like, oh my god, I can stay in Bali for 6 months for this price, but it's not really legit, or you actually don't even get a visa and you never see your money again. So find a reputable agency and then talk to them about the visa situation. I came on a social visa, and so did the kids. And then what happened was I decided to change the kids into a kita. So I'm able to do that because the children are studying here. So because they are studying here, they can have a 1-year kita. And on that kita, they can come and go from Bali whenever they want. Whenever they want, they can just fly off on their own and come back whenever they want. They can do that for 1 year. So you pay up front and you get that year, and that's their kita. And then I'm not able to get that at this stage. Hopefully the visa rules might change for parents because the children can't really be here without us. But I'm on, you can come on a social visa or a business visa. And the social visa, when you first pay up front, you pay for 60 days. So you can come into Bali for the 60 days. And then you can renew monthly up to 6 months. So you've got your 2 months, you pay for your 2 months before you come, and then your 2 months starts as soon as you land in Indonesia, and you pay for your 60 days, and then you have to, normally you go to immigration at nearing the end of your 60 days, you take a photo, you do your fingerprints, and then you can get another month. You only have to go to immigration once, and the next month before your visa runs out, you must make sure your agency is onto it, that they do it before your visa runs out. If that lapses and you're overstaying, then you pay a fee each day you are late. So make sure before that 30 days is up that you get it done. So each month, and then you can extend that up to 6 months, and then you must leave Bali. So your 60 days varies. The price varies from company to company. Of course, with COVID, the price went up a lot, like quadrupled in terms of how much you had to pay for your visa. But I would suspect that they'll come down at some stage. But so I paid for 60-day visa, 5.5 million IDR. So that is, for me, that's 550 New Zealand dollars. So is that US dollars? Is that like 430 US dollars? Something around that. Google. And then my 30-day visa, so once that 60 days runs out and I'm going to pay for another month, then that is 95 New Zealand dollars. So that is 950,000 IDR. And so that's probably sitting in about 67 US dollars for your 30 days. So if I leave those, so say I've got my 60 days and I'm like, oh, I'm on day 41 off my visa and I want to fly to Singapore. I want to have a little holiday and come back. My visa's gone. It's gone. It's wiped. It's gone. It's not like the Ketas. You can't come back and forth. So if you leave on your 42nd day or your 30th day or your 15th day, you have to get a whole new visa. So you have to go through the whole process again. So with those visas, there are a number of different visas. So you have to see, you might be nearing retirement, and there's retirement visas, and you can get Ketas, and if you've got your business here or you're starting up a business here, then there's companies that can help you set all that up, and you have to pay, of course. So that is it. The visa situation, I want to tell you, it's easy. It's not. Hopefully I made it clear. Please though, message me if you've got any questions about it. But even I'm no way an expert. I only know what I have had to do. So your visa agency would be the best for that, to ask any questions, because also at the moment with COVID, things are changing all the time, especially with visas. So of course you used to be able to fly in, and especially as New Zealanders or Australians, you could get a visa on arrival. So you fly in, get your visa on arrival, and you could stay in Bali, so you didn't have to do anything before coming to Bali. But if that's not You can't do that right now. So that will come back though. So right now you've kind of got to be a bit more organised, contact an agency and work out and pay for your visa. So it's all very, very challenging. COVID has been challenging. But also, so the other thing, to come into Indonesia, like a lot of countries, I should say, not companies, you need 2 vaccines. So you need to be fully vaccinated. So if you aren't, then I don't think those rules are going to change anytime soon. So if you want to come to Bali right now or in the next 6 months, you need to be fully vaccinated. I say 2, but there are a couple, I guess, that you only need 1. But fully vaccinated is the rule. So to come to Indonesia, be fully vaccinated. And right now you have to quarantine still. But again, things will change, and hopefully by the time you come, you won't have to quarantine. But right now, fully vaccinated and quarantine. Lucky you. Phones. This has a whole section on itself. So, you're thinking of coming to Bali and you're wondering, should I take my flash iPhone or shall I buy a phone when I get to Bali? Well, it's up to you. But when you get to Bali, if you have your phone and you want it to work on an Indonesian network, you have to pay for it to work. So it normally costs around 120 US dollars if you've got an iPhone, and that means that they'll unlock it to make it work here. You have to show your passport, so you have to show they register you, and then your phone will work on the network. So you can choose to have your phone on whatever network you like, and the companies are really awesome at telling you maybe where you live what might have a better coverage area. So you can bring your phone, but it does cost. So normally when you get to the airport, there is a company that will get it all set up for you as long as you can show your passport and you can pay some money. You'll get it so you can get it working here. Otherwise, it's not just gonna, you won't get it working here. Or you buy a phone. I bought a phone here. Phones are cheaper here than New Zealand. I don't think they're cheaper than the US, but phones in New Zealand are expensive. So I bought my phone here, and that's easy because I bought my Indonesian phone. They give me my Indonesian phone number and I sign up to a plan. It is really cheap here for internet. So lots of times, even if you've got internet on your phone and maybe your house internet isn't so good, you can hotspot off your phone, because I pay 100,000 a month, so that's $7 US, and I get 15 gigabytes. That's heaps. Like I know I use that, and I'm on my phone quite a bit, not heaps, but enough. You know, I'm always on WhatsApp, and if I'm stopped somewhere, I'm browsing. So I'm not a massively high user. I'd say I'm a medium user, and that only costs $7 US a month. And I don't use that 15 gig. I think last month I only used like 5 gig. So maybe when you hear that, you'll be like, oh, she's a low user. But phone, very important, because this is a hot topic that people always ask. Can I bring my phone? Should I bring my phone? For me, it wasn't worth it. I had not a great phone in New Zealand, and it was too much hassle for me to get it switched over. So I just decided to buy a nice one here and get it set up, and it makes it easy. But you know, if you don't mind, you fly in, you have your phone, you pay your money, and you register yourself on the Indonesian network, then you're good to go. Completely up to you what you want to do with your phone, but you'll need one. Adapting to life in Bali. It's going to be challenging. You know, some people come here and maybe they've never been to Bali. Actually, I'm always amazed at this, right? The amount of people I meet, and they're like, oh, we're coming to Bali for a year. And I'm like, have you been here? And they're like, no. And I'm like, awesome. And I love it. And I'm like, whoa, because it's a culture shock, right? It's so different from anything that you know. You've come from and you live such a different life where you are, And then you come to Bali and everything's so different. The culture's so different. The people are so different. You're just experiencing something completely different. And sometimes I think this can prove to be challenging for some people. Some people come here and they jump right into it, and they love it. Like someone like me, adapted to it very easy, and I love it. And for other people, I think it's a bit more challenging. It's so far out of what they know. And sometimes you see families that come and they decide that Bali's not for them, or they can't live here, or maybe half the family love it, like absolutely love it, want to stay here, love Bali, and then half the family are really struggling with it and they end up having to leave. So I think all I'd say is be really open-minded. You're coming to something so different from what you know. Embrace as much as possible. Things aren't like you're used to. They don't run how you're used to. Sometimes you might get frustrated. Sometimes you might not understand how things work. But I just think you've got to really come here and just embrace it and just be like, okay, it's different from what you know, but it doesn't mean it's bad. And maybe, some people it's too much. Some people it's too much and they end up having to go home, but take experience, right? So even if you come here and you have this idea that I am going for a year and I'm going to stay there, and you end up leaving after 3 months, how awesome. You've had that experience, you've done it, you would have had some amazing times within that. And of course there'll be some challenging times, and hopefully they made you grow and be a better person. But I think just be really open. You have no idea how it's going to go here, and you have no idea if your whole family's going to love it, or if one of you is going to love it, or especially when you're traveling with kids, some of them take a little bit longer to adapt, some of them just sink into it, some of them start the first day of school and they're like off, and others of them, 6 months later you're like, come on, it's good, and then they turn a corner. So I think you have to be really just acceptable, resilient, and open your mind and your heart to beautiful Bali. It's an amazing place. It has so much to offer, but it is nothing. You will 100% have culture shock, and whether you can accept it and embrace it as what you want, because it's not for everyone. I say this all the time. Not every place is for everyone. I'm from New Zealand. Some people don't like New Zealand. That's okay. So I just think you just come here, experience what you can, and if it's for you, then it's for you. If it's not, then it's okay. You go home. But I think sometimes it can put pressure on relationships. It can put pressure on kids. If everyone's like, we have to stay for a year. So go with the flow. See how it goes. I think certain personality types find it harder to come here. And also I think people have worked for a really long time, and a lot of people I know that come here, they're taking a year off, and maybe they've never taken a year off. So they've worked since they were 19 leaving school, and they come here and I'm taking a year off and I'm going to surf and do yoga and be mindful, and then after a month they're like, I am sick of surfing and I am sick of yoga and I never want to do it again. And then you start to see a few challenges happen. So I think just accept it, be aware that it could happen, and remember that be kind to yourself, because it's a big change you're about to embark on, and it can be hard. It can be hard for kids, it can be hard for singles, it can be hard for couples, it can be hard for anyone at all, especially if you're doing which we see heaps, is, I'm taking a year off, I'm doing nothing for a year, because that's all awesome in the first month, and then after that, people lose their purpose. So you have to come here, do what you need to, find your purpose here. Find your purpose, because that's where humans, we love that. And embrace it. Embrace if you're here for 2 months, 3 months, a year, whatever. Just go for it. But it is adapting to a different lifestyle in such an extreme change in your culture that you're probably used to, and having things run how you're used to, and that can be hard. That can be hard for a lot of people. So I think you really need to be really open-minded, and it goes either way. Either way, you stay, you love it, you go, you've had an amazing experience. Doesn't matter. Right, should we go walking, my babies? So guys, thanks for watching. I hope that was really helpful to you. And you know, if you're sitting there and you're thinking I'm going to do it and you've got all these questions, hopefully I've been able to answer some. I'm really open to answer any questions on YouTube. So if you have any questions that you want me to answer, let me know. And if I don't know the answer, you know, I'll find it out for you. I mean, you know, I'm coming up to a year being here now, so you know, I'm professional at this. I know everything. Actually, I know very little, but I can find out for you. So I hope you enjoyed it. Thanks for watching. Archie and Bijou are happy that you watched, aren't you? Are you happy? Yes, they're happy.